I've got Carl van der Merwe here, and he brought these two wines to pair with my dish. Carl, tell me a little bit more about what you brought along.
Well, Ruben, I heard that we're cooking up a delicious dish tonight, a bit of sirloin with some marrow bones and slow roasted. So I thought, it's coming out of winter. We're still, the Cape is still a little bit cold, so we've got some really good nighttime fires going and ideal opportunities for a bit of good red wine out of a nice, good glass. So I brought along a Syrah, which is slightly more spicy, slightly lighter, a little bit fresher, a bit more peppery. And then I brought along an aged red wine, which has been in barrel for a little bit longer. And this is probably going to be a little bit more complex, a little bit softer, the kind of wine that lingers on the palate a little bit more. And I think both wines will be ideal partners for this dish.
Well, I'm interested to taste. Can I?
Of course, of course.
Let's start with this, with the Syrah.
Yeah.
I love the labels, eh? What's the story with that?
Well, if you drive onto the Morganson, you'll see it's the most beautiful property. There's incredible detail, wonderful, wonderful gardens.
Yeah.
Just the most wonderful attention to detail. And our labels, I think, are a statement of that. They're very, very detailed, very reflective of Wendy Applebaum, the owner's personal taste, and just very, very colourful. We're trying to kind of marry this nostalgic, classical feeling together with a little bit of modern vibe and touch. Yeah. Isn't that good?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been open for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I opened it about lunchtime this afternoon. So just to give the wine a bit of air to let it soften out nicely.
Let's try the other one.
Sure. So this is a
Maestro.
This is Maestro. So, Maestro is the leader of the orchestra. And as we were chatting about earlier, we play classical and Baroque music on De Morganson 24 hours a day. And,
listen, I've only heard of that. And, I've always wanted to know what's the story behind that. Why are you doing it? And how does it affect the wines?
Well, Hilton Applebaum, Wendy's husband, started Classic FM in Joburg some time ago. And he came across some interesting studies about the positive effects of music on natural life forms. So they did various tests. One of the very interesting tests they did is they took different genres of music and played it to water whilst it was being frozen, and then studied the forms of the ice crystals. And the ice crystals that were formed whilst being played Baroque and classical music were perfectly formed, and the most detailed crystals. And so the studies went on. They've done some interesting studies with the effects of milk production in dairy cows. They know that it's got a positive effect on babies when developing in the womb. And Hilton decided to apply it to grapevines. So we erected speakers in the central block, because the farm is in an amphitheatre, basically. So the central block kind of plays to all the vineyards on the property. And the music plays 24 hours a day. And we've noticed some interesting changes in that particular block, in that the vine growth is regulated. And the same music plays into the maturation cellars, into the fermentation cellars, all day, every day, 24 hours. So, judging by how well the wines are doing of late, I'm sure it has a positive effect.
Listen, I love both these wines, and I think, well, they could easily both go with this dish as well.
Yeah.
But there's one that I prefer, but I'm not going to tell you now, because I want to talk a bit more about you.
Sure.
What made you decide to get into the wine business and to become a winemaker?
It's an interesting story. As most young people, I was a bit confused when I left school, not quite sure what I wanted to do. So I went and worked a bit and just did a whole bunch of different things to earn some cash. And sat down one day and wrote down all the things that I enjoyed in life. And it was basically a whole mix of things. It was food, I enjoyed people, I enjoyed business, I enjoyed agriculture, and I enjoyed natural sciences. And then I basically decided on an agricultural field that had the greatest opportunity for value add. And I chose wine because I felt that wine was taking a natural product like grapes, and you can add exponential value in terms of your branding, how well your business is run, the various things you do that just makes an interesting story, and you can sell a product which has got great value add. And if I look back, I think it was quite insightful, because I think at the moment this is what South Africa needs. There's a big drive in local government to try and have value add to our natural resources and value add to our agricultural resources, and to bring more foreign currency into the country. So, and that's how I decided to make wine. And the deeper I got into it, the wider I traveled, the more people I met. the more in love I became with the whole with winemaking. It's a fascinating job, and the people are fantastic.
So tell me a little bit more about the music you play in the vineyards and in the cellar. You said as well.
Yes.
I mean, what is the people's reaction when they come to the farm, and what's the reaction of your neighbours, for example?
Well, let me start with what's the reaction of the workers, because the workers in the Cape are a very colourful bunch, and I think at times there's a little bit of competition between the music on their cell phones and the music that plays on the speakers. But I'll never forget, I was driving into Stellenbosch one day, and I had driving in the De Morgans on Bakkie with the branding on the side of the door, and this guy selling Argus newspapers put up his hand and said, "Hey, Lani, julle is mos die plaas waar die musiek speel, né? Dis te pragtig." For me that was just fantastic, because this is a normal, a normal South African citizen that just was so impressed by the music that we were playing. And music is a lot, wine is a lot more than what you taste in the glass. It's about an experience, it's about a story. It's one of the few products which engages all the senses. So it's sight, it's taste, it's feeling on the palate. And then it's this whole nostalgia about the story and the area where you had it. And most of the best glasses you've had, for you, are probably around experiences.
Yeah.
Whether it be with your wife or really good friends or...
Well, that's why people say, wine changes, or how they enjoy it, it changes. It depends on how they feel on the day. I'm the same. There's sometimes when I... obviously, like most of us, we have our favorites, and it tastes different on different days, for example, You probably want to know which one I prefer.
I'm desperate to know.
I've actually enjoyed the Syrah, just drinking it like that, but I actually prefer the Maestro.
Okay.
I've got expensive taste. Don't you agree? The Maestro is one of your flagships, isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely a step above the Syrah in terms of the resources that we've used and the selection of the grapes. It's a wine which is more matured. It's got a lovely, smooth, very, very, very silky texture, and it's just drinking perfectly now.
I think it's because there's not a lot of sauce on the plate other than maybe the Bernays that's got a bit of acidity to it, and because the Maestros, it's just so much more. It's more smooth, and it's a lovely wine. And that's my choice.
Awesome.
But listen, thank you very much for making the time. I know you guys are very busy.
Thank you.
And coming and really showcasing your amazing product. I hope I can come and visit soon.
It's a date.
It's definitely a date. So
awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ruben. Nice to spend time with you.